Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Now I've already launched and I've gotten into orbit, and this is wow, yeah, a little bit of graphic lag. Yeah, if you guys haven't noticed already, I kind of have a little bit of like ADD when it comes to like a lot of things. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is get our new fancy, our super fancy schmancy lander all the way to Minmus. There are two Kerbals on board, Mr. Hardtop and Ronley. One thing I think is weird is I guess all Kerbals are related because they all have the same last name, which is kind of creepy. So I was gonna show you guys how to get to Minmus. That's kind of what my plan is right now. So if you can notice, compared to the moon and Kerbin, the orbit of Minmus is very strange, and a lot of people have problems getting here. And it's, like my first, when if you can dock, you can pretty much get anywhere. That's pretty much the way I see it. But so one thing you need to do, and this is like not unless if you get really lucky, which I have a couple times, you need to silencio dog. You need to set up your orbit so that the descending and ascending nodes are at 0 or near 0. It doesn't need to be super perfect, I will say that. Silencio dog. You can see, I'm trying to get it the best I can. It doesn't need to be super perfect. That's at 0, so that's good. Now I'm going to speed up time, become time travelers here for a second. Yeah, getting to Minmus, I honestly think is so much easier to get than getting to the moon. Like, in my opinion, it's like easier. I don't know why, but it is. For me, it's just like I'm like, oh, I gotta go to Minmus. Oh, this could be too hard. Now, you want to set up your burn, and I told you guys before, on the ascending and descent, or on the descending node, whichever one comes first for you. And that motion, the setting up that burn might change a little bit to, get yourself the right inclination. I believe that's what it's called. Once again, I'm not really savvy with all these new terms that have been thrown at me since I started playing this game. Now, we need to find where our maneuver node is on our nav ball and see where we need to burn. So, I believe it's up here. Nope. It's on the other side. I don't want to use too much RCS, but whatever. Yeah, I always hate using RCS for everything, but this rocket is so big that maneuvering it without it would be like watching paint dry. So, alright, we're lined up, and we also have to burn right now because we are pretty much at the node. And it's not a big burn, in a sense. It's, we just gotta get it lined up. Now, one thing I do too, just to make sure that they're somewhat lined up, and I burned a little bit after the node, and it's at negative 0.2 right now, which is like negligible. I don't even bother fixing something like that. Now we need to set up our node to no, I don't want to set that up. Alright, yeah, we need to set up our burn to get to Minmus, and I think I might have to do another orbit possibly. I'm not sure. But getting to Minmus isn't so hard. You guys can see I just set it up and I basically got an encounter instantly. I don't know about you guys and how hard it's been for you to get there or whatever, but for me this has been like my first couple launches. Like, I've been to Minmus before I started even making my videos. like any of my videos. I went there like once, and I'm not really good at landing on Minmus for some reason. Even though Minmus, from what a lot of people say and talk about when it comes down to this game, they say Minmus is like the easiest thing to land on. Uh, for some reason, it's always been kind of a problem for me. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. So we need to align to our node. And you can, one thing I don't know if a lot of people know about or not, but you can line up to these nodes no matter where they are on your nav ball. And if you speed up time, you might have some drift in one direction, but it will generally stay right where that maneuver node is. So that's just one little fancy tip I could give you. Come on, line up. There we go. Now let's see. We gotta wait. You know, with this rocket, I think we're gonna have to do a burn somewhere around like the 1 minute 30 mark. I'm not 100%. Fixing your orbit after, if it's not perfect, because mine like almost never is. I turn off the SAS too. Oh, we already ran out of fuel. So detach that. Start this bad boy up. And that stage right there isn't really like, you can see I'm a minute behind on my burn, so that's not really that good. I'm not so much of a, you know, I'm not like too big on, you know, oh, you have to have it exactly perfect. Like, the one thing I will say is that with this game, especially with launching, no matter how many times you do it, even if you've launched 100 vehicles to the moon or just anywhere, you get the same exact kind of results, but the getting it there is never the same. Even if it's the same piece, sometimes it's never the same. There's always something that happens, you know, and it's always kind of related down to your own errors. But that's the part of the game that I kind of enjoy, that makes it a game, because, you know, I said in my last episode I was talking about MechJeb. If you're taking all the control out of your hands and basically relying on the computer to do everything for you, not only just fly the rocket for you, which is something I think you should do regardless, it kind of ruins your experience in a sense. Like, to me, I always related it to mods with Minecraft. I love Minecraft vanilla, but to me, adding mods to the game was almost supplementing the fact that the game doesn't have everything that it should at that time. So the only way possible that you see it being better is by modifying the game. Now, it kind of doesn't make sense, but if you understand where I'm coming from, sort of, then you'll know what I mean. Like, if you can't have fun with the game the way it is, then you probably shouldn't even play the game anymore, in a sense, because then it's just, you know, you're playing a game basically to add mods to it to play a game. Oh, there we go. Now, the encounters with Minmus, I will say, you know, you guys could have seen my tutorial on getting to the moon. Minmus isn't so much like getting to the moon in any sense. Your encounters will be like 1,000,000 kilometers away. You know, and it has to do with the gravity of Minmus and how small and basically basically how tiny Minmus is. It does not have a huge gravity pool, so getting to it is somewhat easy, but, you know, making sure that you get an encounter is kind of a hard thing to do because of the fact that it is such a small moon compared to the moon. So, and getting there takes a long time. It's almost a full day's travel in the game just to get to Minmus. So, we got our encounter, and as you can see, we're like 1,171 meters away. So, we need to fix that quickly. But the main thing is that, maneuvering around Minmus is the easy part. That's the part that kind of offsets the fact that it's hard to, it's a very small object, and it has very, very low mass, and it does not have a huge gravity pool to, use. So, you want to get to your periapsis, and then basically burn like you're gonna burn to go to the moon almost. It's like almost the exact same kind of burn. You want to you're basically removing almost all of your velocity just to get into an orbit. And the orbits are always gonna be really weird. So, lock that up. And let's start this orbital burn. Now, I was going to do something along the lines with the Explorer 1 in my tutorial series. And what I'm going to do is I'm still going to take off from the moon, and then I'm going to take it all the way to Minmus. At least try to. I don't know fuel restrictions on that rocket as well. I haven't really touched any of that stuff ever since the tutorials, so there we go. Now we are in a somewhat orbit around Minmus. The problem is, and if you guys haven't noticed yet, yeah, we're pretty far off. So let's bring that down even further. I want to bring it down to about 200, maybe 250. Well, no, I'll leave it at like 3. And I'll stop the engine now. So, if you guys can see, like, the orbital speed is very slow. Docking around Minmus is, like, easy. I find it to be easier than the moon or doing it around Kerbal. It's, you're not moving as fast. You don't have to worry you don't have as many variables, in a sense. And to slow yourself down or to approach an object, it does not move that fast. So to get to a space station, if you're building one, doesn't really take a lot of fuel. You're not going to be spending tons of RCS doing a lot of crazy maneuvering and everything else. So let's just fix this orbit. 278, 300, perfect. So our next one is going to be fixing this so-called orbit I have, because it looks a little crazy. Now, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and perfect an orbit. Once again, it takes too much time. I don't really want to spend that much time doing this. So, we need to get on this side and add a maneuver. And that will be to fix this craziness of an orbit. Now, if you notice too, one thing that we will be gaining just by fixing the orbit alone is a lot of speed, and we might actually end up changing our periapsis and aprolapsis in a sense. Not a lot, but it might be just a little bit, it might be a few thousand meters difference at the end. And if you guys really want to fix something like that, I mean, that's 280 and 344, and the one that we have right now is 278 and 300. So you can see it changes just a little bit. It's not a drastic change, but if it's not good to set up your orbit to be really good and then go and do a correction, your I guess inclination of your orbit. It's always good to do the minor detail afterwards. So you can see too, one thing I was just saying is fixing an orbit and fixing and doing a lot of maneuvers around Minmus does not burn a lot of fuel. You saw when I did the burn around Kerbin, it was like 255 or something like that meters per second I had to add just to fix it. This one's 17. So you can see that there is a huge difference. You're also moving very slow. That's one thing I will add. You are moving insanely slow. You know, I built a kind of like a glider yesterday using solar engines, and I had rovers that my rovers have gone faster than the speeds that thing was getting. So it's just funny how this game works sometimes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, what? I destroyed it, guys. I destroyed it. I'm such a noob. I'm such a noob. You guys are all gonna hate me. Yeah, that's what happens when you hit C instead of X. I swear, I gotta get a better keyboard. So I'll try to fix this a little bit. I should have just turned on my RCS. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm acting like such a noob right now. So just line this up and do a few. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Once again, doesn't need to be perfect. Where, you know, I'll turn on my RCS just to tickle the fancy of it. I mean, that's about as good as I'm gonna get, at least if, you know, I'm doing it right here. So now when landing, I am not going to do this episode, but I just wanted to show you guys the basics of getting to Minmus, which I feel like I've done. And maybe I'll do a landing on this because I still need to do testing on this. This is an untested lander, and you guys are the first to see it. This is the first flight. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here, subscribe, and I will see you next time.